October 8th, 2006. Two NASCAR Nextel Cup championship contenders, Jimmie Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., are battling for a win at Talladega. Coming to the final lap, Earnhardt had the lead with Johnson right behind him, but on the backstretch, everything fell apart.
Junior. Oh, no! Vickers hits the 49, up to 48, and takes out Earnhardt and Jimmie Johnson.
Johnson's own teammate pushed the 48 car and caused a wreck that took out both contenders. The driver who caused it won his first race that day and became one of the most hated men in the garage. So who was he, and what did he do to land one of the top rides in NASCAR? Meet Brian Vickers from Thomasville, North Carolina. Born in 1983, he started racing go-karts at the age of 11, racking up 80 wins and 3 championships before moving to the Allison Legacy Series in 1988. In 2000, he showed up in what was then called the USAR Pro Cup Series, now the Course Tour, and took the Rookie of the Year award later that year. He made his Busch Series debut in 2001 with his family team. Van started in 21 more races the following year before landing one of the best seats in the series, the Hendrick Motorsports No. 5 Chevrolet. He was replacing Ricky Hendrick, the founder's son, who had stepped back to focus on ownership due to mental and physical health concerns. Vickers made the most of it, 3 wins and a championship in 2003, making him the youngest series champion at just 20 years old and punching his ticket to the Cup. He was signed part-time to Hendrick's number 25 car in 2003, replacing Joe Nemechek. Van went full-time in 2004. That first full season was decent. 2 poles, 4 top 10s, 25th in points, still third among the rookies. In 2005, he caused a controversy by spinning out Mike Bliss on the final lap of the All-Star Open to steal the win and earn a spot in the main event. The season itself was a step forward though. 17th in points, 10 top 10s, and strong runs at the Coca-Cola 600 and the Pocono 500. That brings us back to Talladega, October 2006. Before that race, Vickers had 7 top 10s on the year. Now he had his first career win at the expense of both championship contenders. Johnson shook it off and claimed his first Nextel Cup title later that year. Vickers, meanwhile, was shown the door, finishing the season with just 1 more top 10 before losing the ride. In 2007, Vickers signed on to drive a brand new number 83 Red Bull Racing Toyota, making him one of the first Cup drivers for the manufacturer. It was a rough start. He failed to qualify 14 times and ended up 38th in points. Still, he had some time to shine. 5 top 10s on the year, including Toyota's first top 10 at Fontana, and later, its first top 5 at Charlotte. Things turned around in 2008. He never failed to make the race, picked up 6 top 10s, and climbed to 21st in points. His best run came at the Coca-Cola 600, a week after his team won the Pit Crew Challenge. He led 61 laps and looked like a real contender until a wreck ended his night around the halfway point. Then came the 2009 Daytona 500. Vickers and Dale Earnhardt Jr., now driving for Vickers' old team, were both chasing the lucky dog position to get back on the lead lap. Vickers threw an aggressive block on Earnhardt, sent himself spinning, and collected 8 other cars in the process. Earnhardt called Vickers an idiot over the radio. Vickers fired back, arguing Earnhardt should have been penalized for dangerous driving. The whole mess kicked off a wider debate about junior rules and how far aggressive driving should be allowed to go. But whatever the controversy caused him off track, 2009 was the best season of his career. 6 poles, 13 top 10s, a win at Michigan, his first chase appearance, and 12 in the final point standings. 2010 started well enough, 3 top 10s through 11 races. Then, everything stopped. Doctors found blood clots on his legs and lungs, put him on blood thinners, and shut him down for the rest of the year. He came back in 2011, opening at Daytona with a 31st place finish after being involved in a big one. What followed, though, was one of the messiest seasons anyone in the garage could remember, and Vickers was at the center of most of it.
You see this here straitjacket? Brian Vickers not only needs to wear it, He also needs to be locked in a padded room and studied for scientific purposes, so that if anyone in the future suffers from Vickernism, they can be cured. Brian showed the early signs of the never-before-heard-of condition that I named after him. Here, he overdrives into the corner and nails Regan Smith. This time, he runs into Montoya, which, hey, it's sometimes understandable. But in this case, it's part of a bigger pattern. It's becoming clear. Once a person is inflicted with Vickernism, he loses all control of his actions. After wrecking 3 times, then you race too hard with a guy in a championship fight. This is over the edge, but you just keep beating on him until he gets sick of it. He doesn't know you have Vickernism, so you see even more people thinking you're a dope. After a 4th or 5th time with the same car in the crash, you start thinking about maybe you're the problem. So you see, Steve, once someone has Vickernism, a lot of people suffer. Matt Kenseth got wrecked. Jimmy Johnson lost the race. Hey, because of the caution Brian brought out. And remember this, Brad Keselowski got wrecked on the final restart, all because of Vickernism.
Vickers finished 25th in points with 7 top 10s, but when the season ended, Red Bull folded its Cup program entirely. BK Racing bought up the assets and offered Vickers a seat for 2012, but he turned it down. And just like that, he was on the outside looking in. Vickers eventually landed a part-time deal with Michael Waltrip Racing, sharing the number 55 Toyota with Mark Morton and Waltrip himself. He only ran 8 races, but made them count. 5 top 10s included 3 top 5s. Off the back of that, he picked up more races with MWR in 2013, added 5 more top 10s and 1 at New Hampshire. That was enough to land him a full-time deal with the team for 2014 and 2015. It looked like a fresh start. Then came Richmond. The final race of the 2013 regular season became one of the biggest scandals in NASCAR history. Clint Bowyer intentionally spun late in the race to help teammate Martin Truex Jr. make the chase, while Vickers was ordered to pit road for the same reason. Vickers had no idea what was going on until his crew fed him a cover story about a possible tire issue. The scandal became known as Spingate, drawing comparisons to the 2008 Singapore Formula One controversy. NASCAR hit MWR with a $300,000 fine, the largest in the organization's history, and docked all 3 drivers 50 points each. Truex lost his chase spot and eventually his ride. The team never really recovered. Vickers, at least according to the radio tapes, looked more like a pawn than a planner, but he was penalized all the same. He finished the season with 1 more top 10 at New Hampshire, though he had to sit out the final 4 races due to the blood clots returning. His 2014 season was quieter. He ran the full year in the number 55, scored 9 top 10s including a runner-up at Daytona, and finished 22nd in points. It turned out to be the final full season of his Cup career. That December, he had surgery to repair a hole in his heart. He came back for 2 races at the start of 2015 before the blood clots returned and shut him down for good. He spent the rest of the year as an analyst on NASCAR on NBC. In 2016, Stewart-Haas Racing brought him in as a substitute for injured Tony Stewart in the number 14 Chevrolet. He ran 5 races with a 7th place finish at Martinsville as his best result. His final start came at Texas in April, finishing 37th. That was it for Brian Vickers as a Cup driver. But his name didn't stay quiet for long. Vickers had been married to Sarah Kellen, who worked as a personal assistant to Jeffrey Epstein and was described by a federal judge as a knowing participant in Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Emails released in the Epstein files showed Vickers had begun communicating with Kellen and Epstein around 2012. A 2013 email showed Kellen reaching out to Epstein after MWR learned that sponsor Aaron's had grown concerned about Vickers' ties to the Epstein circle. Concerns that had surfaced after press coverage of the relationship. The team's ownership appeared to hope the sponsor wouldn't find out. Neither Vickers nor Kellen has ever been charged with any crime. After 5 years off social media, Vickers reappeared in April 2025 to announce their divorce after 10 years of marriage. Then, in late January 2026, his name came back up again with the release of roughly 3 million pages of the Epstein files, his name appearing in them over 100 times. when he posted an update profile picture on Twitter not long after, the replies filled up fast. He locked comments shortly after. And that's what brought us here to a video you've been asking me to make. If you all enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. You can also suggest me a topic for the next NASCAR video in the comments. Anyway, see you all later.